Former presidential candidate Peter Obi on Monday joined civil society groups and youth organizations in a peaceful walk to the National Assembly, calling for urgent amendments to Nigeria's Electoral Act. News Central's correspondent Idong Joseph was part of the procession, and he now reports.
Are we tired? Are we criminals? Our vote must. Our vote must.
Hundreds of members of civil society organizations, including youth groups, converged on the National Assembly as early as 8 a.m., singing solidarity songs and carrying placards with various inscriptions, all demanding reforms in the nation's electoral process. They say that their demand is clear and simple: a mandatory electronic transmission of election results.
We are here to pass our message to our senators and our House of Rep members. The function of government is to protect lives and property. That is why we have come today to talk about the real-time electronic transmission of results.
Akpabio, if you want us to come here again, we will be asking for your resignation. We are here to say pass a bill, and we are not going to stop.
They want that retaining the existing provisions on result transmission will encourage election manipulation, adding that continued delays in concluding the reforms can weaken public trust in the electoral process.
We want real-time mandatory transmission of election results. Anybody who says that it is not possible is a thief. If the government say they do not know how to use technology, they should go and ask bandits and terrorists how they are calling kidnapper victims for them to collect ransom.
In this current INEC, #1 trillion was approved for them, and you are coming to tell us there will be no mandatory transmission of results, meaning that waiting you write to go call for middle of the night when people they sleep. No.
Former presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, joined the peaceful work, lending his voice to the call for transparency and accountability in elections.
The giant of Africa have refused to be giant in anything. We cannot continue to shame Africa. We now want giant of Africa to be true giant of Africa. And the only way we can do it is to live a transparent, honest life, starting from our election processes.
The protesters insist that credible elections remain the foundation of democracy, stressing that electronic transmission of results is key to safeguarding against manipulation and essential in ensuring that every vote counts. In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
Former presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Adewale Adebayo, joins for this conversation from our Abuja studio. Thank you very much for obliging us tonight. As a former presidential candidate, you also see that Peter Obi has taken his stance with the people. Can you confirm to us what your position is on the Senate's decision to remove real-time transmission of the from the Electoral Act amendment?
Thank you, your viewers, and God bless Nigeria. My position is already clear. I've made it open, and the political party that I belong to, the SDP, has made it clear that it's a minimum requirement, and we are not going to take any provision which is short of compulsory electronic transmission of results in real time to the IRF simultaneously with the deriving of the election result at the polling unit. So it's the same time as you are issuing the result at the polling unit, you must give it, you must transmit it to IRF through the BVAS machine, and you must do that simultaneously, no waiting, do it. If the election result is written at 5 o'clock, exactly at that 5 o'clock, you must transmit it.
Well, have we advanced that much? Because that's one of the arguments that's been put forward. How would you balance electoral transparency with concerns about technology failures like those reported in 2023?
Well, it's like someone asking us to abandon digital TV. because sometimes you have low bandwidth. You have to move forward. INEC, the body responsible with implementing it, has agreed that that's what they want. Everyone who is involved in election management say that's what we want. The National Communication Commission had a planning session, several sessions with INEC, and this technology is not new. It's been tested in over 165 elections across the country that INEC has conducted. And as recently as last week, national leaders of all political parties met with the INEC chairman, national chairman. INEC wants the law to be written the way we all agreed. Compulsory and mandatory transmission of electronic transmission of election results in real time, simultaneously with issuing it manually. So there is no need for them to cry more than to bereaved to give any kind of excuse. This is not a partisan issue. This is not grandstanding by politicians. We met today with many of the civil society groups in Lagos. Atutomi was there. Almost everybody was there. Ayuba Waba was there. Pastor Bugaje was there. And we've sent people across the country. And this is not a presidential candidate or politician coming to grandstand. This is what the people want. And this is what the majority of the National Assembly wants. Because the Senate passed it in committee. The Senate debated it and agreed in the executive session. The House of Representatives has concluded its entire process up to the third reading. So this is just a few desperate people in National Assembly leadership, led by the Senate President, are trying to throw spanner into the works. So this is not an election campaign issue. This is not a one-party or second-party issue. Even majority of APC members want it. The chairman of this Senate Committee on the Electoral Reform is from APC. He voted for it. The chairman House Committee on the same committee on Electoral Reform is from APC. Voted for it.
I mean, today we saw the protest and the concerns being raised, and at the heart of it, some would say, is a question of public trust in the Nigeria's system, Nigeria's leadership. Do you think that it is only the real-time electronic transmission of results that will restore some measure of public trust in Nigeria's elections, particularly?
It is an easy tool to use. It is like VAR. It doesn't mean that we don't have confidence in the football matches, but VAR came and it has improved, reduced the margin of error. So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to say this technology is available, it's been tested. The only reason why National Assembly is getting involved now is because in cases where it is not used, and that has led to some bad result or injury or controversy, the Supreme Court, leading other courts, have said that it's a good technology, but we cannot force INEC to use it except it is contained in the Electoral Act. So we are not coming to make a case that it's a good technology. We already know. We are not coming to make a case that it's going to help the elections. We already know. What we are saying is to eliminate such instances where, for some reason or the other, for one motive or the other, for one situation or the other, it is not used. And on many occasions, I can give you thousands of examples where it has been a difference between accepting the result or not accepting the result.
Okay, so this is not a question of, maybe it's an oversight, maybe something, there was a misunderstanding. These things are clearly known. And the Senate, though it seems like there is some division, but there's been a comment that this bill has been passed. This is a deliberate action. Do you believe that these protests will compel the change that is required? Because, like it or not, this is not the first time Nigerians are coming out to say, we want this. And then the leadership will kind of, what they want becomes the norm.
This is going to be different because this is not fighting over policy. This is fighting for the soul of the country. It's either we want to use democracy to choose leaders, or you want to do fight for all, and nobody wants to do fight for all. What we want is electronic voting, electronic transmission. We want other measures, including increasing the penalty for those who are committing election violence. There are people who bring out machetes, running after people who want to come and vote for their own candidate. Those who are forging papers, those who are buying and selling votes, all these vices. And then we discovered that the Senate now, through Akpabio and a few of, just a minority of them, started to reduce the sanction. I don't know how a lawmaking body wants to reward lawbreakers. Thirdly, there's no need to truncate the one-year window for INEC to plan elections. So those are other issues that we're discussing with them. The reason why there is so much emotion, there's so much commitment, there's so much uproar regarding the electronic transmission is that it is a harmless provision that's already been done, and it costs nothing. We're not going to spend more money on it. It's already there. It's a very low-hanging fruit.
All right.
And it's a sign that those who are in charge really want to truncate the will of the people. That's why
is this electronic transmission of results cheat-proof? Because we know that even when we used it in the last election, there were still complaints here and there. Is this, if somebody really wants to cheat, at the moment, we see that the alignment of population and states that belong to the ruling party and the opposition is very skewed. So the question again, will this transmission make it cheat-proof?
It will make it cheat-proof after the result has been derived. There are other challenges we still have to deal with before the election, during the election, vote buying, things like that, violence and all of that. But once voters have gone to a polling unit, which is where most voters know. I'm a politician, I'm a presidential candidate, so I know all the entire gamut of election. But for the common man who just wants the good of his country, who's just looking for a leader he can believe in, most of the interaction ends at the polling unit. And the highest disappointment he can get is to be at a polling unit, see a particular result, and then hear later that result is not what was collated. That's what we want to address on this occasion. And we are not negotiating it. It is not up to debate. We demand it. This election will not take place unless these provisions are put inside the law, and it's up to the government to decide whether they want to be government of a peaceful nation or they want to truncate the administration by themselves. It's up to them. But we are not going to give an inch.
All right.
And this is not a one-day protest. This is not a kind of a signature show-off for one or two candidates. No, the whole country is standing up, all of us. And we hope that by tomorrow, when the emergency session is called, that they resolve this emergency they have created, and we move on to other challenges, many, many challenges facing the country, insecurity, poverty, and all of that. But they cause all of this hypertension in the country now, because there's nobody who says that he's a Democrat who is going to allow this to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's been speculated that this is just testing the will of the people to see how far they can be pushed. I guess they are pushing back. Thank you very much, Adewale, for speaking with us, sir.
Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.